Hi, everybody. This is Help Me Be Me, and this is Sarah Mae Bates. And I am doing an episode I'm calling Wonderful Change. This is about really aligning your energy with that which you want to bring forth. And I have a couple of books I'm going to put in the show notes that I think are really fabulous that I'm reading currently. And a couple of these tools are really tied to one of these books, which is called The Game of Life and How to Play It. It's an old book. It's very, very short. It's just really, I think, a kind of purified, condensed summary of a lot of the stuff I talk about on the show, but really around energy and the importance of um, resetting what you expect and really aligning yourself with truth. The words in the book are very different, but it's very identical. And I just think it's a nice format to read it in. Female author, I think from the 1930s. Anyway, this episode is about bringing energy into the right channels in your life. And that is because we affect everything, every outcome with our energy and with our intentionality. And we quite literally get back what we put out. Like attracts like. So, this is about having faith and putting the right magnets into the world, leading with love. One quote from one of the books that I'm reading is the subconscious is energy without direction. And I thought that was really powerful because that's exactly what it is. Like your subconscious mind is just intense energy, but it's just heading toward an object, it's heading toward a concept without interpreting a layer of what that concept means. It's quite blanket in how it tunes in towards something. You know what I mean? So um, if you have subconscious thoughts, you have subconscious worries, you have subconscious things you don't like that you're focused on. It doesn't even matter the layer of interpretation that your brain has around it. The subconscious is just channeling energy toward the thing directly. It's creating a direct magnet toward the thing. It's not interpreting. And an example from my own life that really renders this concept is I used to have a Volkswagen Golf. I want to say it was like and when I first started college, maybe it was like halfway through college, it was like my favorite thing in the world. I was obsessed with it. It was so fast, so fun. I cried when I sold it. It was in perfect condition, but I was so obsessed with it that I was super paranoid about anyone denting it. And I would take like extensive steps to park it in like the furthest spot. I would take like a really long time parking it. And you can guess, because of that energy, I would get several dents a year. And it was this energy of like the more you protect, the more you gather, like the more you attract. In in the book that I keep mentioning, there's a quote that explains that concept as if you run from a lion, it chases you. If you walk up to it and look it in the eye, it disappears. I'm paraphrasing, I think it says it in a different way. In an old timey way. But I think that's a really true thing. I now have a very nice car that I do never repark ever, and I have like zero dents. I think it's partly just the energy. Um, anyway, as soon as you have this is like I think what my most powerful takeaway that has been most top of mind for me is as soon as you have energy in your body of dread, of worry, of oh no, I don't want this thing. I'm worried about this person. I'm worried about this situation. As soon as you have that, walk directly toward it. And I don't mean that literally, like go up to the person that might punch you. I mean, like in your own mind's eye, just welcome it. And as soon as you do that, it vanishes. As soon as you allow the thing to just be true and you really energetically make peace with, like, I welcome what is, it will and you let go of the worry and you let go of the concept of the problem, it will vanish. It's so insane. Like I just want you to try that one step. So, like, let's say you have conflict with a coworker and you're really dreading seeing the coworker and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be near them. And then I feel awkward. They're here. Go fully into the feeling and just be there and say, I welcome what is. I welcome whatever will be. I welcome whatever the person will say. I welcome all the things. I accept them. I feel no void in myself. I feel no lack in myself. And just watch what happens. It's just in that energy, that little mental mantra, like talking to yourself moment, the problem will vanish. It's fucking bizarre. And it's allowing it to be true in your body that you accept and let go. It's just like you practice allowing that to be true in your imagination. And this for me has been like a little bit of a shift I'm also going to make in just how I parent my kids because I feel like I'm definitely the parent that's like, strangers are dangerous. Don't go near them. Like the world is dangerous. Things are scary. And I think that not that I shouldn't keep them safe, but I also think I need to inspire this same thinking of trust to really vibrate in a place of faith and instead of being guided by fear really being guided by like intelligence and understanding the context of a situation but also by like faith. And I wanted to really focus on this idea of our part in observing reality. And I have like a bunch of very cursory, um, like experiments that I wanted to talk to you about. This is super, like, I feel like the way that I'm going to describe them is so layman that it will probably not make any sense. But I'm going to try to do it anyway because I feel like quantum physics is kind of like mind blowing in what it presents to us in terms of like what our reality now means. And it's I think I'm just gonna I'll just give you my little top line of these different experiments and what I think they mean. And this is over the last few decades. This is not like brand new physics, but um, when you when you intend for something to happen, it will more likely actualize. And in many ways, we are the ones who actualize it. An onlooker, the intent of the onlooker changes the outcome. And that's just another way of saying visualize the thing you want. When we visualize a thing, we are actualizing that thing in our trajectory. We're drawing it to us. And that is like there's a related experiment like a photon is a particle and a wave until you choose how to measure it. They did experiments where they observed waves at a distance, and what was recorded in this wave at a distance can be changed retroactively by the measurement in the present. So it's a term called retrocausality. So quite literally, we can affect things present, future, but also past. It's a fucking mind-blowing thing, right? Like it's called the delayed choice quantum eraser. Measurements made in the present can alter past behavior of a particle. So they did this by measuring a light wave at a great distance. And so when the eventual light wave arrived, the outcome was affected by the decision in the present. It doesn't really, it's a very hard thing to understand, but I think it's like a testament to how incredibly powerful intention is and how there really is no such thing as time. Like you can affect your being in all ways, in all directions, in the present moment, and how you choose to show up in the present moment and what you choose to make this present moment. Another experiment, the double slit experiment, when unobserved, tiny particles act like waves passing through multiple paths simultaneously. And as soon as a someone observes the which slit this particle will go through, it changes from a wave and collapses into a solid object, and it will pass into only one slit, which is only really to say an observer changes an outcome of something that would otherwise be only potential. So I think of that as translating to our earthly experiences as we actualize potential with what we intend to observe. And I mean, there are so many other quantum physics experiments that are just like, huh? Like there's an experiment called spooky action at a distance, which is an experiment that proved quantum entanglement, where two objects that have been entangled will be forever entangled regardless of how far apart they are. So they will take simultaneous actions because they are paired, um, just magically. It could be across the other side of the world. And I think of all of these things as really just, I don't know. For me, it's like pretty or unmapped, all the things that we can really tune into on a intuitive level. Like there's so much that you can really tap into in yourself and bring forth in your life through just simple energy and intention, and really being clear and clean in those intentions. And by that, I mean like getting out the noise. We have so many unintentional, noisy thoughts that really corrupt what it is we bring forth in our lives. And so, this episode is really tools for getting really, really, I guess, purified in what you're channeling today. So, with that very sloppy science introduction, here is part two, the tools. These are all tools. But first, a brief word from our sponsors. Okay, part two, the tools. Okay, the first tool, build it and your new self will come. This is really more of a tool about habits. I think one thing that's really difficult when you are in a rut or you're in a loop, your routine is very strong, is we can get almost like addicted to an old self, like especially when we're in a relationship that is reaffirming that self. So it can feel like it's hard to change sometimes, or it feels like it's hard to like let go of habituated negative thoughts or negative patterns. One way to jumpstart that change is by creating the context for the new, healthier, more productive, more positive, more hopeful self to be reinforced and created. And by that I mean like an actual scene change and context change. Like habits are very cued by context. So what would it look like for a healthy, happy, positive, beautiful, successful, well, whatever the thing is that you want, person, what would that look like? And quite literally create that environment for yourself, create that routine for yourself, create the calendar of that person, create the attire of that person. That maybe it's the actual activities on the calendar of that person. All of those are a means to force the change internally. When we change the external, we can change the internal. All right, the next tool, I might be dating myself by doing this, but this is a reference to Dawson's Creek. I don't want your life. This is a tool from Huberman Lab. I think it was kind of a cool way to think about also changing, especially if you are in a culture that is reaffirming habits that you don't want in your life or identities that are not serving you. I think it's really hard if you want to become healthier and happier if you are in an environment that's full of toxicity and that's full of superficiality, or everyone in your group is like obsessed with being rich and skinny and you really want to like become grounded in yourself, or I don't know, fill in the blank, whatever the thing is. Really deliberately zagging as a means to counter the current of your environment, just because biologically we are very um, it's trained, it's ingrained into us to follow the group. Like it will feel like the correct answer to go with the mass, whatever it is. Even if we don't want the thing, we will feel like a current pulling us to think the thing is correct. And especially if everybody's saying the same thing and doing the same things, it'll feel like very dangerous almost to our body to not do that thing. So to conceptualize it as, I actually want the opposite things than you guys do, and like make it a counterculture urge in yourself, like code it as such. And that is like a great way to just feel proud of it and own it and not feel so threatened by it or alienated by it. All right. The next tool, feeling the burden of the block in itself. Um, I think sometimes we have intrusive thoughts or we have negative beliefs or there are kind of things that we're trying to really energetically cleanse from ourselves and they're just persistent or they come involuntarily. If that's the case, we can actually make it into a mantra where we give it over to the universe, deliberately casting it as like outside of ourselves. And so, one way to think about it is I've mentioned on previous shows my God box or my good box, whatever you want to call it. The thing is, um, a sacred box of sorts where you put things in it that you're ready to just relinquish control over. Mine's in my closet. I think having some sort of like sacred, precious looking box where you can just anything that's bugging you, anything that you're worried about, anything you're fixating about, anything you're trying to grasp for control over. As soon as it's looping in your mind, you put it in the box. And I mean anything. So it could be like, my future with this person, my job that I don't have, whatever it is, just like put it in the box and like now it's on its way to being solved. And that is really like an energy cleanse as well. It's a way to say I let go of the illusion that I can and should control this outcome. And it doesn't mean like, all right, I'm not going to apply to jobs anymore because the universe has it. It just means that you're letting go of the job of worrying. You will still do all of the proactive things and be high functioning and aggressive and all the things you are, but it is really about letting go of that graspiness. And so this tool is the same thing in mantra form, only it's saying, I let this go into universe energy. I relinquish this to the universe. So you can say, I cast this burden to the universe, or I relinquish control, whatever words make sense for you. um, Whatever it is, like give it over to the universe. I give it over to this force that is within me. I let go of it. All right, the next tool, play make believe and watch for signs of land. So, one way to really actualize the things that you want in your life is to play make believe about them and kind of like practice the acts of having those things or being in that life or um, as if the thing has already arrived. I always think about this as a really powerful tool to get the job that you want is to be at the workplace itself and imagine yourself working there. Imagine yourself showing up for work in the morning there, whatever the thing is. But this is also a great way to actualize the future that you will have. And then watch for signs of land, meaning this there will be signals in your environment that hearken to that thing, similar to when you see seagulls when you're close to land. And so you'll start to get inklings of that thing as just like proof of your own energy. So, like, if you were to say, like, for me, I want a pool, and I'm like channeling the pool, I'm thinking about the pool, and then I'm now going to, like, my signs that show up might be, pool tiles. I don't know, like beach ball, whatever the thing is. Like chaise lounges might show up at my doors, whatever the thing is. So, um, in the Bible, I've never quoted the Bible. This is so weird. There's a passage. I'm not anti-Bible. Just want to say that. I'm just have had an upbringing that was very triggering around said book, and I also have my own belief system I've arrived at throughout my life that is has very much the same teachings but way more on an energy level, way less of a literal people level. But all that to say, there's a teaching that kind of summarizes this, which is dig the ditches and the rain will come. And I think if you go through the action, it really is showing your body you can trust reality. You can trust the future. You can trust what will be. It is such a powerful creator of a path forward. We are divining rods, quite literally. All right. The next tool is a mantra. I go freely into fill in the blank. This is just also an energy tuning thing. I go freely into happiness, confidence, beauty, success, whatever the thing is, like just to really like set your energy. I do this whenever I'm feeling like really anxious. And it's just, it almost like it broadcasts it to everybody in your environment and probably beyond your environment, but it's freaky, man. Like you're literally, it's like a little sign will go over your head being like, love, 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 I'm full of love. We can communicate with more than just words and expressions and physical attributes. It's like there is so much being broadcast from you psychically as well. All right, the next tool, never take someone off a joy course. And I put this in here because I think it's like, it's just one of those things that doesn't need to happen. And like, why do it? You know, if you ever notice that somebody's in a joy state and they're really excited about something, allow that to continue, perpetuate it, invite more of it. And including with kids, I feel like kids, you know, it's hard to not say like, hey, put that down, get it, don't do that. But like, if they're in a joy state, redirect the energy toward another joyful thing versus like halting it. You know, it's like we only need more joy. We don't want to cut off anything that is too happy and positive early if we can avoid it. You know. All right, the next tool, vote well, and this is about habits as well because I think this was Atomic Habits. This is from Atomic Habits, which is a best-selling book. Habits are votes for the person we want to be. And I think that's a really cool thought because in many ways you can make new votes every day. Let's say you want to be a more successful person. You want to be a more popular person, a happier person, more balanced, loving, well-rounded person. All of the things you practice today will be ways that you take a popular vote of all of the things that make up you, all of these tiny little, I used to call it a teaspoon of happy, meaning we are like recipes. Everything we do in a day, everything we ingest in a day is a part of that recipe, which totals the sum of your life. So this is like a similar concept in it, but it's more about all of the things you do are your way of voting on who the person you choose to be actually is. And it has to be demonstrated through the actions you take in your day. And so the more often you do those things, you will actually believe that you are that person. Your person will actually align with what all of those things are. So, for example, I am a person who really puts I put my family at the top of my totem pole of my life. My kids are at the very top of that totem pole. And my habits and my actions really echo and demonstrate that in all the things I consider and try to make special. I'm also a person that really values art and like creativity. And so the things that I consume and the things I practice viewing also reaffirm that to me. So it's like really about how authenticity can make you a better person and a more colorful, powerful, interesting person. All of these things, these little details make up feedback into an identity. It's a great way to change into a more powerful person that you love and respect also. And if you want to change, we have to kind of become very clear and um, deliberate in that context that we script for ourselves and really design it. There was a time in my life when I lost my biggest relationship, my like grounding tent pole, and I had to like replace all of that and what it meant with new stuff, and I had to do it really fast because there was this vacuum, this void. So I just started filling it with stuff that I felt like this seems like a cool thing. This seems like a cool thing. This seems like a cool thing. Like I'm going to take on being really into all things comic books, or I don't know. I just started plugging in stuff just as a means to form a new identity quickly. It's like healing a bone back that was broken. You need to grow, make the muscles around it stronger. So if you want a new self, start with voting with your habits to create that self. All right, the next tool. Um, what made today a good day, or my tent poles of success? I think one way to kind of reduce the overwhelm, I feel often really like I wasn't successful in a day when I have too much on my plate for that day and I'm like, well, I didn't finish XYZ. Another way to reframe this for yourself, if you have any similar problems, is to think about what for you on a soul level makes for a good day. So, did I spend time with my kids today? Did I exercise today? Did I work on something that is creative, that is important to me? Whatever the things are, choose your things, your tent poles, whatever they are, and just ask yourself at the end of the night, did I do the things that are important to me today? And if so, your day was a success. It doesn't matter how little of those things you did or how much of those things you did, as long as you did them, you're moving forward in the right direction. All right, the next tool is a journal exercise, as within, so without. I thought this was a really interesting concept of like we kind of attract what is inside of us, including our beliefs about ourselves. So the journal exercise is to reflect on what am I attracting and bringing into my life? What is something that is recurring in my life? And it doesn't have to be negative. It could be more of just like a reflection exercise. And I think it's like an interesting concept. So, like, here's an example. If you have lots of very triggering or abusive relationships that come into your life, or deceptive relationships that come into your life, or people that are belittling to you, like kind of similar archetypes that recur. The journal reflection is to just observe the thing. And then the second step is to ask, what in me is that validating? Like, what belief in me is speaking directly to this person, is completely validating the opinion, the perspective of this person. And it's usually some form of a hidden belief about yourself, like you deserve it. So they're all kind of original stages that get reset. An opportunity for us to try and earn the thing we didn't get, or try and prove the thing we don't want to believe about ourselves. Like prove someone wrong. Like, I am lovable though. I am. So, but it's all stemming from a belief. And I feel like in order for us to fix the thing or gut the thing, we have to see it first. And then the last step of this, which I don't know if is, you have to do the first two to get to this part, is we have to give ourselves the unconditional love and the actions that demonstrate we are not uh, unlovable. We are worth protecting. We are worth loving. We have to counter that belief with our actions, And that is very hard to see, but often the words that come out of your mouth are, but I have to, but I couldn't possibly. What am I supposed to do? I'm trapped, but like, there's so many like weird ultimate rules that will kind of spew out of your mouth about why that thing is impossible. And so, if that is true for you, I just want you to pay close attention. If you're explaining away why you cannot change, that's like a hidden denial of the truth. Okay, the next tool. Every moment is a stimulus. What are you teaching your body? So I like to think of every single moment as like an opportunity to kind of analyze how we are teaching ourselves our own worth, but also what we are telling our being about what is true about our lives. And so when I was writing this, the moment I wrote it, I was like, oh, I'm actually sitting in a really uncomfortable position. So if this moment is a stimulus, I'm teaching myself that like my body doesn't matter. So it's like we can tweak and correct very rapidly as soon as we tune in and observe. Like, what am I telling myself with this moment right now? It might be as simple as like, I need a drink of water, and oh, I'm telling myself that I don't deserve lunch. I don't know what the thing is. It might be also a positive thing, but um, it might also be like, I need to have a more beautiful environment. Like, I need to have, I'm telling myself I'm a messy person, or I don't have my shit together, whatever the thing is. Um, okay, next tool, be good with solutions. I think this is an interesting observation about adulthood. A lot of our solutions, a lot of our coping skills are things that we began doing from our parents. And they're things that we just kind of learned through osmosis, through watching our parents deal with like random situations. We just learned that that was the right thing to do. Or maybe it was through friends, or maybe it was through like media, like TV shows, but like just become conscious of the solutions that you resort to now and be maybe redesign them if there are ones that don't feel like they're good for you or that you enjoy them or they're actually good solutions. Because to train in a new solution takes a few repetitions. It's like you got to get yourself kind of addicted to the new habit in order for it to become natural or second nature. But I think it's interesting to dissect, like, oh, a glass of wine at the end of the night is something that a parent did, and therefore I started doing it at a certain age because it just felt like that's normal. But did I ever decide it? Did I ever say like this was a good thing that I wanted? Does it make me feel good? Probably not. Um, and are you modeling for yourself conditions that create the eventual person that you want to become in the future? Like, is this routine a vote for the person you want to be in the future? Okay. And the next tool is called the energy of flow. I've already kind of touched on this, but this is about really coming to the energy of trust and really letting go, especially when we go into that controlling, constricted kind of like fear-based energy of like really starting to practice like you're in a play and you're playing a character. Practice trust and fully just imagine in your mind, I accept what is, I welcome what is, I welcome the truth of what is meant to be. And with that very simple workaround, we are opening channels of something positive to come forth. So, another version of this is I bless this situation. I bless this as a success. I deem this a success. Whatever it is, it's like really just allowing the truth to be the best outcome, no matter what it is. And what you do when you do that is you create this energy of acceptance, and it becomes an invitation for whatever the best outcome is to come forth. There are so many moments that I feel like our brain will grasp for control and will say like, no, it has to be this way, though. It has to be. I can't handle it if it's not this way. And our really limited view of reality, our very small controller self, has a much lesser view of what the right thing is than the universe and what is actually best for us. So by stepping out of the way and really allowing the truth to guide everything, the best outcome will come forth. It's really magical. And if you are welcoming truth constantly and like accepting what is constantly, you will automatically start to align with what is best for you because you will no longer be forcing an outcome. It's like, like admitting when a relationship is done and like letting it go versus like forcing it to stay and like making it warped and like taking, a short end of a stick for yourself. It's like you end up aligning your life with what is best for you by default. Okay, the next tool is a tool from my daughter. She says this cute thing. You know what the good news is today? So this is just an exercise I invite you to do with whoever you want to in your life. The game is to just fill in that blank. Like, what's the good news today? The good news today is, and it could be something like very ordinary and mundane, but I think it's fun to just pick out stuff. I mean, it's in some ways it's just a little like conversational form of gratitude. Um, the good news today is we have lettuce from a farm. I don't know, whatever the thing is. Play with those you love. And my last tool, hire the prosecution and the defense. I think this is really helpful when you go into an old triggered state. So it's kind of like a loop of thinking where you are fear forecasting. So if you start to go into that narrative that's very dark and like anxiety driven, I tend to have them around feeling guilty. Like, oh, that person's so mad at me. Go into like a total spin out that will cause me to stay up at night. And that's because it's very ingrained from childhood. Like, if you are a person who would call yourself a controller, you likely grew up having to be a tiny adult and kind of manage the feelings of other people. And so, if that's true for you, you likely have very intense guilt narratives around other people in your life. So, if you're in a spin out that's like anxiety driven, the exercise is if you're building that long narrative for yourself, the prosecution, you did this, and then they thought this, and now they're really mad at you for this. It's like that long, long case. As soon as it's done, now you bring out the defense and build out an equal case of examples of the opposite being true. And what will happen is they will both cancel each other out. They will both have equal cases and it will like neutralize it. So it will turn into a blank slate. That's the outcome. And the case is always equal and really what we're trying to do is get to that reset of neutrality of I do not know the answer. I let go of the job of controlling and predicting what will be. And as soon as I start to have the negative narrative, now I do the like counter to it and immediately come back to whatever is, I fully go toward it. I fully run in toward that energy. I'm not resisting it, I'm welcoming it. And that's when it evaporates. It won't evaporate immediately in that moment in time, but it will evaporate. It's pretty bonkers. So, those are all my tools. I hope this episode is helpful to you. I hope you have hope and optimism, and at the very least, an openness and anticipation of witnessing something new and magical as true. Just openness. Um, and I hope you have a lovely weekend if you are having a long weekend. And don't forget to smile.